This is the second video in our series about silver after the apocalypse. Let's call this one Bad Silver After the Apocalypse. Not all silver is created equal. In the first series of videos, we talked to you about the 90% junk silver and that how any coins minted from 1964 back in the past, like dimes, quarters, halves, and dollars, were worth 90% silver, and that was good stuff. 1965 and after, I said, was bad. When it comes to training your non-collector trading buddies, that's the best way to train them. It's easy to remember. Now, there were some people who commented who said, well, wait a minute, Rick, there were some other coins minted in 1965 and afterwards that had some silver in it. Did you forget those or what have you? Yeah, I purposely forgot those for a number of reasons, not the least of which is they're not anywhere near as good as 90% silver for trading purposes, and all they do is confuse people, and you don't want to confuse people. Let me show you two forms of bad silver. And let me just say right away, if you want to collect this stuff, great. I know somebody who collects bottle caps in beer bottles. It's fun. I know another guy who collects ships in a bottle. Fun to do. Are you going to trade beer caps after the apocalypse for food and water? Not so much. Same kind of deals here. Let's talk about the Kennedy clads. Here's one particular Kennedy clad, and you got it upside down. This is live, folks. That one is dated 1967, and it looks pretty much just like the one I showed you before. That was in another video. Was 1964. This here is 1966. These things were made from 1965 to 1970. They're called clad Kennedy halves, and they're made of 40% silver and 60% copper. Why should I say don't use these? Because they're not 90%. That's what people want. That's what they're going to want to use. Why collect something, or why have something that isn't going to be as valuable to you as that 90%? And Midwest Refineries, which is one of the premier refineries in the country, won't take these. So when you talk about silver melt value, you should be able to, I don't know, melt them. And Midwest Refinery says, I called them, no thanks, we got plenty of 90%, we don't want that crap. Crap is the technical term for the 40% Kennedy clad. Then there's another little fun one, and this is my funnest coin to hate. It's called, if you can see that black piece of interesting stuff, it is a war nickel, and if you turn it around, you can see right above Jefferson's Monticello, and there's a large, you got to see, there's like a large mint mark right above the top of Monticello. It's a P, and it stands for Philadelphia. The war nickels distinguish themselves a number of ways, one of which is they have that large mint mark in that strange place right above Jefferson's Monticello. That meant they had silver in them. It turns out that nickel was a very, very valuable material to use during World War II, and we couldn't afford to put them, well, into our nickels. So what we did is we replaced it with the less valuable silver. So this lovely little coin has 35% silver in it, and it's got 56% copper and about 9% manganese. You'll find manganese in our great currency like the Sacagawea dollar and those presidential dollar pieces. Nice collector items. Don't save them for the apocalypse. I personally hate this thing. It's ugly. They were exposed to sulfur in their lifetime, which makes them black. Please, try to convince somebody this black piece of crap is actually silver. Besides, it's called a nickel. People believe it has nickel in it. And for most of its history, that's exactly what it had. This is something you don't want to have to try to explain to people after the apocalypse, because quite frankly, I don't even understand it. And let me give you one more example. APMEX, which is the American Precious Metal Exchange. APMEX.com. I don't get any money, but they're one of the big companies. You can buy 20 of these puppies for about 21 bucks, which is only slightly above, or right around the actual price of silver. Why is that? When 90% selling for more than the current silver melt price. Why? Because nobody wants these things. And to make it even worse, is I can buy these for about $21 for 20. And if I want to sell them back to APMEX, they'll only give me 16 bucks for them. That is a crappy return on any kind of investment, and it certainly is a crappy depreciation. I could drive a fancy sports car off of a dealer floor, and I won't lose 30% on my purchase. Typically, APMEX, if you buy 90% silver from them, a big old sack of it, they'll buy it back from you for about 5% less. But not this puppy, 30% less. Wow. Get rid of it. It's crap. That is my video. Be smart, plan, and buy the 90% junk American silver, 1964 minted, back into the past, dimes, quarters, halves, dollars, and leave the proof sets and the clads and all the war nickels to all the people out there who want to have fun collecting but don't want to have fun surviving. Bye.